So next, we can do a couple different things. We can change the color of the land, which we would do eventually. I might not do that first. I usually try to put in mountains or trees and try and fill in the color appropriately depending on the geography that I've laid out. But you can do a multitude of things. You can add rivers, mountains, buildings, cities, lakes. You can do almost in any order that you want to. It's just this way I find is a little bit easier to kind of keep it uniform. So we're gonna start with mountains. Now, when you come over to put mountains in, you go to symbols and you hit the mountain brush, and you have all these different options over on the side. My personal favorite, I like these penciled mountains. You have small and large. I usually go with the large ones. Obviously those are really big. You can change the scale, which we'll get into later. But they look really nice. Now you can, if you wanted to go for a different look, you could add these in. Or if you want the inked mountains look pretty good too. You can do that as well. But for this, we're going to use the penciled mountains. They are my favorite and the ones that I always use. So this is, we're not going to make this a whole continent. We'll make it like a small island. So we'll decrease the scale a little bit, and you can see what fits best for you. I usually stick around 20 if I'm doing a whole continent. But if we're just going to do an island, maybe 40 is good. And 40 is fine. And then you can just click, hold, and drag whichever direction you want your mountain range to go. So I think that looks fine for like a spine of a mountain range. And usually you want to add some extra stuff to give it some depth and thickness. We'll see how this works. Like that. That's not bad. And like I said, this is just something simple. This is to get people started. I will probably do something more in depth later on. Who knows? So I like that. We can go with that, and then maybe we'll put another one over here. We'll do something along this lake right here. Maybe like this. Something to note, you can zoom in over here in the top right and just drag it around to get a closer look. My personal preference, I don't like this mountain shape. You can use this button to click and move them around. Not a fan of this. It's okay in some areas. Like if I was going to put it along a coastline like this, it would work out. But just in general, it doesn't work. So you can, if you don't like a shape, you can get rid of it just by dragging a square over the ones you don't like and hitting the delete key, or you can just hit on one and hit delete. So when we come back over here, I can do this. You can just place one at a time. And if I don't like this, say I don't like the shape, I'll just put it over there, it changes. And then you can go back and delete it later, or you can hit Control Z, it'll get rid of it, and you still have the mountain shape that you want in your hand. So this is pretty good. Let's stay with that. So coming back over here, I see that there's a little empty spot. Let's fill that in. Maybe make it a little bit thicker. And you can just drag them around if you don't like the way it looks specifically. I like that. So we'll go with that. Maybe I'll add some extra mountains along the coast right here. I don't want to litter the map too much with them, but you don't want it to feel empty. You just do as much as you want, as little as you want, whatever you feel like doing. So maybe we'll do, let's do some over here. Actually, no, let's do it up here. On this side. Maybe we'll put like a town there or something. If we want to do this, you can just follow the coastline, and it can go over. I don't mind it going over. I mean, if you don't want it to reach, that's fine. Maybe we'll have that be kind of a valley that can go through the mountain range. But like this, again, I don't like this color, or the shape, I mean. Get rid of that. We can do something like that. Zoom out again, see how that looks. That looks good. If you want anything else, maybe these islands need some little mountains in the middle of them. Drag and drop. Let's do something like that. Looks good. Maybe this one over here can get some small ones. And now, since these are kind of big, we can use the small versions to get something like that. Maybe the same for this one. And we'll see how that looks. I like that. Maybe we're missing some over here too. And this island's a little bit bigger, so we'll go back to using the big mountains. Again, I don't like that shape. Get rid of that. Maybe something like that. Let's get rid of this one. Come back over here. I like that. Let's do that. So now that we have our mountain ranges, we can either color them in, add trees, add rivers. I usually like to add the trees. Trees, you have, again, like mountains, come to the tree section. You have all these different options. I like doing the penciled pines. It matches the same aesthetic that the mountains have. And again, we can change the scale. If I kept it the same scale as the mountains, it would be very tiny and very hard to see. Which, yes, would be more realistic. If you're looking at a top-down view of a map, you usually can't see trees. But for the sake of aesthetics, I usually increase it a little bit. Maybe we'll go up to 60. See how that works. And then we can just kind of drag and drop. Let's start with the small island over here. But you can drag and drop these islands. And something that I did forget to mention, placement rate and placement density. You can change those for mountains too. I normally don't change them for mountains just because I like to make sure the mountains are exactly where I want them. They're a lot more noticeable. But for trees, you can change them. And what it does is, if I was to drag and drop, if these were both at 1, just hold and drag, it spreads them out like that. If I were to increase the placement rate, let's go to 1.5, it places it a lot faster. If I was to increase the placement density, it would place them a lot closer together. So if you want like a thick forest view, you would increase this up really high. We can increase it a little bit if we were to add a forest, but I think for now we'll just keep them both at 1 and just kind of place them around the edges of these mountain ranges. You can add some stragglers over here. I think that looks good. And let's do the islands first. So here, probably not a whole lot of trees on this tiny island, so we would want to slow down the placement rate. Maybe something like this. Could be fine. That looks good. And then over here on a bigger island, maybe increase it back up. Maybe this is almost jungle or swampish. We can increase it up a little bit higher. Let's go to 1.3. And these don't have to be exactly the same. You can increase them however you see fit. So we'll do this. We'll see how that looks. I'm not really the biggest fan of that look, so you can just get rid of them. And I mean, you can do the same thing that if like say I didn't like these trees, and if I didn't like it, I could just press Control Z, get rid of the last action that I did. I could come up here and hit the undo button, or if I went undo too far, I can redo it to get it back. Or you could do the same thing that you do with the pointer and just drag and drop and delete. Let's go back down to 1.2. Maybe we'll add another mountain range in the middle here to kind of fill up some space. So we'll zoom in, go back to the mountains. We'll lower the scale back to 40, and then add something like, let's go this way. Go something like that. And maybe add an extra couple right there. Perfect. Zoom back in. Go back to the trees. Go up to 60. And add a few. Maybe this one will spread out a little bit thinner. I think it looks pretty good. Alright, thank you guys for watching. This was the second part of the map making series. I will have the third part out tomorrow, probably. Let me know in the comments if I need to fix anything, change anything, if you have questions. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.